Reading like Taylor Swift.
I have been to every single Taylor Swift concert since the Red era, but unfortunately, after a decade-long stint, I think my Taylor Swift concert career has come to an end. To commemorate the decade-long run from 2013 to 2023, starting with Red and ending with the Eras Tour, I figured we would do a proper burial service. So welcome, readers and Swifties alike. This is Read With Me for a Week, Taylor's version. Step one is done. My Taylor outfit is on, which this is her most iconic look. It's actually the Ray-Bans with the varsity jacket. So let me grab that. So actually the first step was going to buy the books. Now I'm ready to read them. And first on the docket is a reread actually, and that is Sally Rooney's Normal People. And I'm very excited to read it. So this one I am going to listen to on audiobook. Since it is a reread, I figured this one was the perfect one because I always have at least one audiobook going at all times to listen to, like before I go to bed, while I'm cleaning, doing the dishes. Ironically, I am not a huge music fan. I like music. I just never think to turn it on. And fun fact, full circle moment, I grew up only listening to Christian music, like 90s, 2000s radio Christian music. Until Taylor Swift, probably like 2008 maybe. So that feels appropriate. I also, fun fact, don't listen to secular music anymore either. It really does feel like this is the end of an era. Okay, one thing I love about Sally Rooney right off the bat, her characters are so good. I also watched the show. Definitely have that in my mind now. The first time I read it, I did not. Will check back in as I keep reading it throughout the week. Oh gosh, this is gonna be bad.
What?
I'm gonna pour in the...
Oh.
I mean, it's just like actually not gonna go well.
First, I read Normal People. I just listened to it throughout the week, and honestly, I think that was my favorite book out of all of them. It's just the characters, I guess, that I care about the most, and then I also like the end is so unsatisfying, but kind of in the most satisfying way possible. So Normal People, I gave a 4.5, and I stand by that. If anything, it'd be like a 4.75, but I really enjoyed it. So the book follows two main characters, a boy and a girl, and they are in high school. They're part of two different crowds. So the girl is super smart and like the top of her class, but is very awkward socially, and she's self-conscious about it, but she's the most confident, self-conscious person ever because she's like very aware and in her head about how people perceive her, but she also doesn't care to some extent and is very much herself. So she's like aware that she should be self-conscious about it, so therefore she kind of is, if that makes sense. So I really like her personality because I haven't read a bunch of characters that are like that, but I feel like it's so realistic, and I just enjoy the dynamic between the two because the guy, on the other hand, is very popular but like laid back. He's not as confident overtly, and they're both very in their heads, but it's kind of their friendship and love story the entire book, and it follows them from high school through post-college adult years, and then kind of like their decision making, their different relationships, their relationship with each other. So I just enjoyed the whole book. Again, loved it.
This is my next outfit. Definitely got inspo from this photo. I'm literally just Googling all of the Taylor Swift outfits for this and seeing what I have in my closet. Surprisingly, a lot. Anyways, we are going to start Conversations with Friends, which is another Sally Rooney pick. But I'm just re-listening to Normal People. I'm like, why did I not look up Sally Rooney and all of the other books that she wrote after I originally read Normal People? I was in college, so probably not reading as much for pleasure. Definitely not reading as much for pleasure. But anyways, I'm excited about this one. I know nothing about it. Since it's Sally Rooney, I was like, I'm just not even going to read the summary. I don't hear many people talking about it, probably because it's older. When did it come out? I've seen a lot more people post about Beautiful World, Where Are You? Oh, this one came out in 2017. Okay, so when did Normal People come out? We'll look at that. So yeah, excited to dig in. I am 5 chapters in, but I swear that by, I don't know, definitely within the first chapter, you can already tell like what's happening, what is going on. Chapters 1 through 5 solidifies the narrative for you, and I, for half a second, debated DNFing because I'm like, do I want to read a story about this? I don't know.
I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative.
And I feel like definitely intrigued, interested, but also, is this the trope that I would choose? Definitely not. But I see why Taylor Swift did. Definitely see why she would. But it is definitely like the tone of Sally Rooney books, the way that she writes. I love it. It is not for everyone. It definitely, I forgot about this, but, because I'm listening to Normal People, I didn't recognize it. She does not use quotations. I think that is definitely something that turns people off to her writing. It is a little bit different, but I feel like once you get in the flow, it's kind of like a classical book. You start reading a classical book and you haven't read one in a minute and you're like, whoa, I need to get my bearings. But then once you get into the flow of it and you remember what it's like riding a bike. You start understanding everything. I feel like her writing is a little bit like that. I literally still have my headphones on, so I'm like talking like I cannot hear a freaking thing.
You know that Taylor's boyfriend, when she was dating him, was in the show adaptation.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Joe is one of the main characters.
While she was dating him? Mm-hmm. Had no idea. I'm literally such a fake fan. I'm gonna pull Audrey into this video at some point because she's the true Swiftie. Had no idea. And I've seen the show.
You've seen Conversations with Friends?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen like some. Oh wait, no. Conversations with Friends. No, I haven't seen the show. I didn't even know how to show. I was thinking Normal People. I'm like, really? I must not recognize what he looks like. Anyways, that's very interesting. Is he the main guy? Who is he? We need to watch the show. So that's our on our homework to-do list. Fascinating times. Anyways.
Joe plays Nick Conway.
Wait a second. Yeah, that's like the main guy. Yes, that's definitely the main guy. Yeah, that's the main dude. Interesting. I pictured him older. How old is he in real life? This guy I pictured like in his mid-30s. Does it say he's in his mid-30s? Like almost 40 or something. Okay, I digress. Let's get back to reading. I finished Conversation with Friends, my second Sally Rooney read, and I think she might be one of my favorite authors. There's something about her writing style that is so sad and miserable, but in a very like peculiar way. I don't know. I feel like I don't want the book to end. Anyways, loved it. I'll do my review at the end of the video. Okay, I always forget to explain what the book is about. It's 2 friends that become friends with this older couple, and then romantic relationships, feelings start evolving. There is like a really big age gap, so it's kind of also an analysis between Audrey's giving me a nasty
That's icky.
the 2 different age groups, kind of like a midlife crisis versus being an adult in the world for the first time, college age, trying to figure out who they are, what they want out of life, all of that.
This is my second Sally Rooney read ever, and she does just not disappoint with her writing. I think that the only reason that this is lower than Normal People, well, I'm rating it a 4 stars, which is still really solid. Like, that is a good book that I would recommend to people, but I just didn't love the relationship dynamic in this one. It's just a little bit more like bitter tasting. I don't know. Normal People, it's like you're rooting for both of them. You love both of them. They both have their faults, but they're both really trying, and she explains really well like why they are the way that they are. With this one, I feel like it goes a little bit less into the like psychology of it, And yeah, I don't know. You just don't get as much of the backstory. You also start off in college with two of them, and then the other 2 years you start to get to know them in their like 30s or 40s. So I think the like compassion, empathy part of me just is a little less on board with this narrative. And that's why because I'm such a like, I'm just too serious for all of it, it gets a lower rating. So this one gets 4 stars, but still a great read and love Sally Rooney's writing.
I've got the outfit on. This is my inspo pick. We already get the gist. We understand what this video is all about. We have 2 books left that I think I want to do in this video. I feel like 4 is a good even number. I also am thinking about doing a version, like a classics version of this video, so if you want to see that, let me know. But the two books I have left, which me and Taylor have extremely similar book tastes. I don't even know why I'm doing this video because it's literally just rereads. This is the freaking crap show. Like, why did that not register to me that I've read every single one of these books? So cheers to that. At least all of them I've read more like 2 years plus, except for, that's a lie, because I think my next book pick is Stargirl. And I have not read this since, I want to say high school. I was thinking it was middle school. I think it was high school, which I don't even know why I read it then, because it is definitely, looking back, for a younger audience. But I remember liking it. I really don't remember the details of Stargirl. Anyways, I'm going to force Audrey, I think, to read this one, because I've been trying to get her to read this since I first read it in 2020, because it was my last summer in university. I read it and then made my mom read it, and then I made Cassie read it. And I'm like, I think it was, again, I wasn't reading a ton, so every book that I read, if I liked it, I was just recommending it to my mom and my sister, and I was always trying to get Audrey to read it, but Audrey is stubborn. She's one of those readers where it's like, if it's her idea, she's all on board, but if someone else reads it first, she's got a freaking chip on her shoulder about it, that I beat her to it, and she doesn't want to read it. Anyways, I think I'm going to make her read this, and then we can discuss as a fun little thing, since, yeah, I've read all of these books already. So let's get into it. Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli.
Sure, don't lie.
Name books that you're happy to read after if you're not the first to read it. Name one.
I don't remember.
There hasn't been one. Cassie, is that not true? Tell me it's not true.
You don't say you won't read it, you just don't.
You just don't, and sometimes you say you won't.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, this is just as fun and angsty as I remember. I am well pleased with Stargirl already, and this is such a short book. I don't understand how Jerry Spinelli paints such vivid characters in 2 seconds. It's pretty wild. This one is so cute. They are in high school, by the way. I thought they were in middle school, but they are in high school. And it's weird because it definitely reads like a middle school book. Like, this does not, the way that Stargirl is painted, all of the relationships and just the way that it feels more juvenile than high school. But I think that they're in 10th grade, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, that was a little bit weird. But this one I'm giving a solid 3.5 stars because it is a good, fun read. It's super fast. It leaves you being a little existential and a little angsty, and you like think back to, I don't know, the impressions that you made on people in your school days, and then also like moving forward. Because of the way that this book ends, she left just such an impression and changed so many people. I don't know, she makes you want to be a better person, actually. Like, she makes you want to be more confident and more carefree, but also she's like wise beyond her years because she understands what life is all about and what really matters, and she's completely confident and just very loving and wise. So 3.5 though, because yeah, it's just not written for 28-year-olds. Okay, we are back. It is a few days later, and I have since had Audrey read Where the Crawdads Sing, because, as you heard earlier, I've been begging her to read this for years, and she has refused. She has read this over the past couple of days, and
I'm anxious to hear what she thinks about it because Cassie, our older sister, she hated the ending. She was like, I do not approve. We haven't talked about it at all. I just was like, okay, your homework is to read this book. And now I'm anxious to hear all about it. Oh, but first, our outfits. I'll post the photos that our outfits are inspired by.
Well,
I'm just giving Red Taylor's version, and I am giving Reputation. Okay, so Audrey's first impression of Where the Crawdads Sing is when we watched the movie together. So we had a sister/mom movie night, and me, my mom, and Cassie had obviously already read the book. We had not seen the movie yet. Audrey had not read the book. So Audrey loved the movie. Me, Cassie, and my mom were like, the book's better. So finally, Audrey reads the book and then watches the movie. Again, you still love the movie.
Okay, well, like, love is a big stretch. I thought it was like a good movie. Like, I thought it was like a cute, it was a cute movie.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't anything revolutionary, but I just like the concept as well. After reading the book and then watching the movie did lose a lot of its sparkle. Kaya was way more feral. She was like literally Mowgli in the book. Like, it was...
They tamed that narrative a lot for the movie.
Like, she went to town and she was like dressed and, you know,
she was like fairly normal.
Yeah. It's not like she was like depicted as being like dirty, like muddy in the book, or like, you know, her hair's not washed and stuff like that. No, she like takes care of herself, but it's more of like she literally does not know how to be around people. She's not socialized.
So what do you think about the ending? Because the ending has a big, don't say like too much, but the ending has a big plot twist, reveal, and that's what Cassie hated.
I love the ending. What did you not like about the ending?
The fact that Cassie hated the moral, I don't know, not
her,
reckoning,
like, lying
but
the entire time. But anyways.
But Audrey liked it.
But yeah, because it's
very
like,
true crimey, very...
But it's also like the circle of life. The life cycle, you know, the food chain. It makes sense in Kaya's brain.
I did not put as much thought into the ending as Cassie did. I was just like, okay, I don't know. I just didn't think that went much into it, and it like actually bothered Cassie. What do you rate the book?
I don't want to like say 3.5, but maybe a 3.5, maybe like a 3.25.
Okay.
Ish. It's really good. It's for sure good, and I would, especially for this being her first and only novel, it's insane.
It is.
This is, yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, like,
also Taylor sings a song right in the movie.
Carolina.
I feel like I would have rated it a 3.5 right after I read it. It paints really good imagery. It paints really good like emotions and puts you in her shoes.
And I think that's one thing that you don't get in the movie is in the book, Kaya as a narrator is very, I don't want to say sterile, but she's very scientific about it because like that's what she is. Like in the end, she's really like an observer of nature. And so you get like the short sentences, the stating fact. She relates her life to wildlife that she sees, whether that be like birds or insects or whatever. And so I definitely liked the National Geographic aspect of it. Just like reading about you did feel like you were in the marsh.
Yeah, and there aren't very many books that I've read where it has that National Geographic. Anyways, okay, thanks for doing that. Finally reading it.
Yeah. Don't regret it. I'm glad I finally read it.
Last but not least, Where the Crawdads Sing. The gist of this book, by the way. You follow Kaya, and she has had a time of it. Oh my gosh, poor girl. So basically her mom leaves while she's a really young child, and then one by one, all of her siblings also leave. So she's left to live with just her and her father. Her father's an alcoholic and abusive and just like painted to be a very scary person. Kaya is experiencing all these emotions, like why did my mom leave? She's going to come back one day. She still has hope for that. And then also with her siblings, like why would they have left me here? She feels very abandoned and is just kind of like allowing the time to pass by, just hoping that someone will come back for her siblings or her mom. But basically it's her journey of survival, of emotional and social survival, as well as actual physical living off the land. It's kind of a coming of age, but it also, because she's like experiencing her first relationships for the first time, her first friendships and social interactions, she's very isolated and lonely and very in her own head, but also has a very different personality because of her life experience. So it follows her from very early childhood all the way through her death. So that is also a really cool, timeline. I think I would have rated this higher if I rated it right after I read it, but I did not reread this one. Obviously, Audrey read it and she gave it a 3.5. I think I would have given this a 4 stars probably right after I had finished it, but now, years later, definitely I would say a 3.25 maybe. It's weird because I don't have a bunch of emotion for any of the characters, and it's not like this book changed me, but the imagery and the survivalist, I don't know, way of life is so interesting, peculiar, and I do love being put in the shoes of someone who's had an experience completely different than mine. It kind of gives like Into the Wild, Glass Castle vibes. Maybe 3.5. I feel like, yeah, that's valid, Audrey. 3.5. So that is my week of reading like Taylor Swift. I would love to do another version of this where I'm reading the classics on her list, because I know that she's got some F. Scott Fitzgerald, definitely the Bronte sisters, and some other classics on there that I would love to read. I rarely read classics, so that would be a fun deep dive into that, and I won't have read all of the books prior to filming. So anyways, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and then yeah, comment below if you would like to see that other version, and I will film that. But I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, and subscribe for more bookish videos if that's what you're into.